Hey, welcome back, y'all. How we doing? A little gobble, gobble. Welcome back to Turn Bark Time. I'm the Turn,
I'm the Bark.
and we're gonna be here a long time. He wasn't ready for that joke, and I thought it was fantastic. Hey, we're on season 3, episode 3. And this is custom Thanksgiving episode, dropping on the big gobble gobble day. So if you are cooking your turkey right now, watching this video or listening to it on Spotify, thank you. We appreciate it. For those of you watching, I'm just going to throw this out there because every YouTuber apparently says it. Go ahead and like and subscribe down at the bottom. And we'll keep these videos going. So, Bark, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. We're probably going to be more entertaining than any of the Detroit Lions Thanksgiving football games ever.
I second that wholeheartedly. And if we were talking about the NFL, which we're not because we'll go down a rabbit hole, we have no idea what's going on in the NFL right now. Craziness has ensued. But we get to talk about a fun topic today. It's going to be pretty interesting. So shout out to your daughter. This one goes out to Emma. Gave us the topic of our favorite cartoons. So was pretty excited. I knew, like I said at the end of our last episode, I knew exactly one of my cartoons right off the bat. But I will defer to Barker to start off because, no offense, Barker, your cartoon's a smidge older than mine.
Yeah, I'm an 80s kid. Turner's a 90s kid, so we span different decades. So you might notice a difference in our picks because of that. I looked at this and I actually had a hard time because growing up, we lived out on a hill outside of town, and if the weather was good, we pretty much had 2 channels, maybe 3, maybe 4. We had CBS and ABC, and that's back in the day when there was only cartoons on Saturday morning. And so I went back and I looked at, like, I thought about, like, what are the ones that I remember watching? And so I'm going to start with the one that's actually, like, probably the one that people have never heard of, and that's Garfield and Friends. Right, the lasagna loving eating cat who lived with John Arbuckle and the dog Odie.
Yep.
Had a cartoon show that ran from 1988 to 94. 121 episodes.
Wow.
And I was looking at something because it was actually Garfield and Friends means that it was Garfield cartoons, and then they would cut it with something called U.S. Acres, or they eventually called it Orson's Farm, and it was about these random farm animals. And it, like, the main guy was Orson the pig, and then there was like Roy, who was the rooster, Wade, who was a duck, and then there was a sheep named Bo or something. Anyway, and there was 2 chicks, and there was one was in a shell. His name was Sheldon. You know, just stupid stuff. But I mean, like, it was one of the most, like, kind of like consistent shows. And I was reading, and I think it was CBS, and they were like, it was a staple of CBS's, like, Saturday morning lineup for years.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so my granddad, another caveat to why this sticks in my memory, is that my grandfather, my dad's dad, Grandpa Barker, loved to tape stuff off of TV on VHSs.
Oh, yeah, there you
Right?
go.
He had every episode of MASH. He had a box set of MASH before box sets of anything were a thing. They're still on those VHSs. I don't know what happened to them. But we have a tape at my mom and dad's that had the Garfield, like, Thanksgiving and, like, Garfield, like, Christmas special on it.
Okay.
And so I now look up on YouTube these videos and make my children watch them.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's one of those, like, it's like everybody watches Charlie Brown, like, screw Charlie Brown, like a big whiny kids, you know. You got to watch Garfield. Garfield's better than Charlie Brown because, like, Garfield's like that. I don't even know who voiced it, but bless that man. Yeah. Bless the man who voiced Garfield the cat for all of those. And this, like, way better than, like, any of the reiterations have been with, like, the CGI. It was old school Garfield with John and Odie and Nermal.
Nermal. Yes, Nermal. Okay, so now when we did Garfield and Friends, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you really quick.
You're fine.
Is this the one where, because I think I've seen these before, where Garfield, like, his mouth doesn't actually move, right? Like, he just looks at the thing and it talks. Okay, perfect. I wanted to make sure that, so I have seen Garfield and Friends, even though I am a 90s kid.
Yeah, it's more of him yeah, like he kind of looks at he breaks the fourth wall and will like
Yeah.
look at the audience, and then like somebody like voices over like what he's thinking is the majority of how it works. 'Cause he's a cat. Cats can't really talk.
Yeah.
So there's no point, Disney, in making the mouths move when they talk because they're animals. Um, so anyway, I think that's kind of a weird pick.
No, I like it.
Because it was going to be G.I. Joe's.
Also classic.
And then I was like, but that's more of a toy.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the show as much as I played with the toys. Like we had G.I. Joe, we had G.I. Joes all over the place. You know what I mean?
Lorenzo Music was the voice of Garfield for 121 episodes.
Bless him.
Yeah, he is a interesting man. Let's see. Yeah, he was a writer for multiple shows, but did a lot of Garfield. Garfield's what he's famous for. So,
rightfully so.
Oh, he did Darkwing Duck too. He was in Darkwing Duck. He was in the Rugrats. Yeah, good stuff. I like it.
So, anyways, both of my picks, spoiler alert for the second one, both of mine are like ABC, CBS, like Saturday morning, because that's the only cartoons we had. It was the beginning of the era of the Disney, like after school power hour.
Yeah.
But we'd have to run up to my grandmother's because she lived like another 100 feet in elevation and could get Fox. Like, I'm not joking. I remember like,
I know.
the car,
I know
like,
you're
we
not
gotta go to
joking.
grandma's. And we get up there with like 5 minutes left. I'm like, oh, do we get to see anything? And I didn't understand commercials at all.
Yeah. I love it.
Tonight on K13 News.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's wow, Barker. Now we're really blocked from school filters.
Yeah, sorry.
Nice.
One whoopsie.
So Bark, I'm actually gonna audible from what we did now that I think about it, and the way you described Garfield. I'm actually gonna go with like I liked how you said it, like what do you remember watching? And honestly, the first show that I like really, really remember watching that was a cartoon was Pokemon when it made it to the United States. And it rocked my world. And I remember this. And like, so here's what happened. I would come home from school, elementary school. I'd be picked up by my dad, and my sister and I would always, and my brother too, would always fight over who could go get the mail. And I know that sounds silly, but it was always like, I'm gonna go get the mail. And we'd like get out of the car and like run the like 50 feet to the mailbox, even though it wasn't like a far race or anything. But I remember I got this VHS, and it was from Toys R Us. And I was like, oh, what is it? And it was all about Pokemon and talking about this thing that's coming to the United States. And I remember starting to watch it. And I'm a true blue Pokemon, because that was the first one I ever had, fan, in terms of like when it came out, that was a Saturday morning and they played them in order, and it was the Indigo League, and it was phenomenal. I remember just watching them over and over and over again. And that was like, I was always the early riser. My sister and my brother sleep in. Shout out to my sister and brother for sleeping in. Allowed me to watch Pokemon. But I would like get up, I'd have my bowl of cereal, and like Pokemon would come on, I think at like 8. And it was like, or it was like reruns before it. Like there was Teen Titans and like all this other stuff that was on, but it was like Pokemon. I was like, I just wanted to watch it. And I was like, I just wanted Pokemon. That's all I wanted. Right. And now, like as an adult, like they have Pokemon Go, right? They're still making Pokemons. Like it's a successful franchise. It's very powerful. And it's just like I had kids the other day that brought in Pokemon cards, and I was just like, I wish I could find my Pokemon cards and like show you guys what I have. It's also probably worth a lot of money, but oh well. Another thing that went down the tube. But yeah, I remember like, and it was Ash Ketchum, and he was 10 years old. And now as an adult, I'm 31 years old. And I'm like, this is morally irresponsible for any mother to let their child leave their house with a wild animal and say, okay, go capture other wild animals and fight them. Right. Like this is not in theory, Pokemon, like I know they're friends, like they protect them, they train them, like that's the whole goal. They give them a life and everything. So they're more like pets. But it's like, this doesn't seem like a right like thing when you like add up Pokemon and like take a look at it. But it was one of those shows that as a kid, like I just watched his adventure and I was like, oh my God, like this is so cool. He gets to travel the world and he would like solve problems and they would run into Team Rocket and he met Misty and he beat Brock and it was always like he was never like gonna overpower anybody. Right. And I love that about people. Like he's never gonna overpower anyone. He has to be crafty. Like he has to outsmart them. He has to use strategy, and he was a nincompoop. Like that was the best part. Ash Ketchum was a complete nincompoop and thought no matter what, he could always overpower somebody. And then his friends would be like, no, we have to strategize and do this. And so they would strategize and then he would do it and be like, wow, you're not a nincompoop. You did it. And he would realize it. But they got to travel all over the world. They got to catch different Pokemon. They got to train in gyms. This led me to buying, like I had blue, I had red, I had yellow, I had silver, I had gold, and then I stopped because it's like, okay, at this point, you're just duplicating monsters. Like I play Pokemon Go enough to look at it and be like, you guys are giving up at this point. Like you're just throwing stuff together, just tossing them out there and hoping it sticks to the wall. But I mean, it was really a big part of my childhood. Like it was, and I would still say this is one of my favorite cartoons. What frustrates me is that on Netflix, when you go to watch Pokemon, they have Indigo League, but they stop and it doesn't continue. There's no season 2, season 3, like they're supposed to be. It just stops at an episode and it's a random episode that doesn't like tie anything together. It's just stop. It's very, very frustrating. But I would still say that Pokemon was one of my easily one of my top cartoons. I watched that thing religiously. I still go back and watch episodes because I love the idea of it. I'd still play on my cell phone like Pokemon Go, my emulator and everything like that. And I know we're talking about TV shows, but I watched the movie, right? Like he had the Mewtwo movie where he had to go and like take on Mewtwo, and then he like found Mew, and it was this whole other thing. And then I watched the second movie, which was Lugia, and that's the mythical Pokemon. And what's crazy is the people who made Pokemon were freaking geniuses because in the Silver and Gold, the mythical Pokemon that you can catch is Lugia, right? Which is that Pokemon from the movie, or it's Ho-Oh. Yes, haha, the name's funny. Which is like a fire-breathing mythical bird thing, but not Moltres. But in episode 1 of Pokemon, Ash sees Ho-Oh flying across the sky after he and Pikachu defeat all the Spearow. And it's like, man, that's really well thought out. And the fact that you brought that into a game way later, I love the connection. I love the movement through it. So again, all-time favorite, or one of the all-time favorites. It's not the all-time favorite. One of the all-time favorites is definitely Pokemon. By the way, for those of you wondering what it was originally going to be, it was going to be Hey Arnold, which again, Hey Football Head, great films, great cartoons. I still watch them. They're all on Hulu. It's fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I'd have to pick Pokemon over Hey Arnold. All right, Bark.
Emma watches Pokemon. Occasionally she'll be sitting there. We've got stuffed Pikachus and a Bulbasaur and just kind of some random stuff around. But she just, I don't know. She's like,
Bark, really
never,
quick. If you had to pick a favorite, if you had to pick a favorite Pokemon, what are you picking?
I'll
rephrase my question. If you had to pick a starter Pokemon, it doesn't have to be the starter 3, but you have to pick one of the non-evolved forms of a Pokemon to start with, which one are you picking?
Probably Squirtle.
Okay. Classic. Can't go wrong with that.
Squirtle the turtle.
Yep. I have to go with, I had it in my brain. Where did it go? Oh, where did it go? I lost it. Shucks. I'm gonna go with Eevee. Because Eevee can turn into multiple different things. But there's also the classic Eevee episode, which is called the Eevee Brothers, another shout-out episode, where all the brothers are quick to evolve, and the younger brother keeps his Eevee and lets it learn the normal attacks. And so that Eevee is a lot quicker and saves the day. Spoiler alert. All right, I'm done. Go ahead.
I enjoyed the Pokemon movie, the live action one with the
Oh, the
Detective
Detective
Pikachu.
Pikachu. I never saw
That
it.
was, oh, what?
No, so I never saw it because it a lot of people told me that it let me down. So
I disagree. It's a good family film.
okay, perfect. I will
Um,
watch it. That is
we
no
we
doubt in my
weren't
mind.
sure because at one point it had the monkeys with the hands on their tails.
Oh, APMs.
Yeah, they look kind of freaky, but
Yeah,
we were like, can they handle it? And it's or poop. Sorry,
man, we are gonna get blocked.
I'm gonna have to edit a couple of bloops in here, but
We get a beep.
you have to figure out how to do that. Anyway, adventures in editing.
Yeah, family friendly film.
Yeah, sorry.
APM. No, you're good.
It was
I'm
good.
just
It was
wondering.
good. It was good.
Okay.
Kids liked it. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. So my second one kind of bridges the gap between we've been talking about Saturday morning cartoons and then like I talked about G.I. Joes and it wasn't about toys, but like this is a show that people accused of being a 30-minute commercial for toys and pizza every Saturday. And it is another show that I vividly remember watching. And I do believe that we had something called constructs, which were like these plastic beams that you would connect with these like crazy like raspberry connector deals. And we would make swords and stabs and sais and all kinds of things. And I think by the end of it, they were all cracked from us like swinging them at each other.
Yeah.
Because that's what you did with things.
Yeah.
In the era of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
So
TMNT.
It ran from 87 to 96.
Wow.
Roughly 200 episodes.
Nice.
So originally based off of the comic book by Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman. And apparently in 4 years, it sold $1.1 billion in toys.
That sounds right. I definitely own Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys.
As did we. Only I think it was behind G.I. Joe and Star Wars as far as earning money in like that 4 year, which it's like the heyday of Saturday morning cartoons where a lot of Saturday morning cartoons were created to sell the toys. And if you have not seen The Toys That Made Us on Netflix as a series, I highly recommend that. They talk about Star Wars. They talk about Hello Kitty. I mean, just kind of Barbie, a variety of different toys. And it's just really interesting. Power Rangers, I think, is on there too. It's really interesting where they talk about kind of like the history of how they got where they were. But anyways,
One question for you. What's Hello Kitty's last name? Her last name is White. Her name's Kitty White. That's her name.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Learned that from a Trivial Pursuit card.
Did not know that.
No, there you go. All right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Sorry.
It was perfect because I had 3 brothers and there was 4 Ninja Turtles, so it was perfect. Yeah. I always thought of myself as Raphael because I liked the color red growing up.
Yeah.
And then a while back, one of my brothers was like, well, you're like Leonardo. I'm like, well, no, I can't be Leonardo because Leonardo's like the blue one. He's the leader. And I'm like, I'm not the oldest. Like Bob's Leonardo because he's the oldest. And then like, no, you're Leonardo. You're like the leader. You're the level-headed one. And like they went through and like had this big long like explanation of like why each one of us was who. And it completely didn't jive with my childhood like thought.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh God, like mind blown. You know what I mean? Like, but no, dude, yeah, we totally Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Turtle power.
Yep.
Oh, the other thing that I love about that era is that every cartoon had to like put out PSAs.
Yeah.
To be like teach kids to be good people.
Yeah.
So the Ninja Turtles, the one I remember from Ninja Turtles is that somebody was throwing away like the 6-pack ring and Leonardo would chop it up. So that the ducks wouldn't get hurt or the fish wouldn't get hurt. And then the best one ever, this is honorable mention territory for G.I. Joe.
Okay.
The best PSA ever was the G.I. Joe one where they tell kids not to play hide and seek and hide in refrigerators.
Yeah.
And they're like, these kids like, ollie, ollie, ox, save them free. Like totally like 80s, Mayberry kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where's Billy? And like the G.I. Joe guy's like, well, like, hi, Lieutenant Hawk or whatever. Yeah. Hi, where's Billy? I don't know. He might be in that.
Yeah.
freezer. Like out of all the things in the junkyard, it has to be the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Open up. Remember, don't hide in refrigerators. You could become trapped. Thanks, G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe. You know, because what is it?
No,
Knowing is half the battle.
Yeah. No, it's now we know, and knowing is half the battle, and knowledge is power.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think we watched. I've probably seen every episode that's been on TV. We watched. It led to us watching the first live action movie and the other two terrible ones that came afterward. And I've refused to watch anything new that they've produced where they've reanimated it and made it computer animated. I'm like, hashtag not my turtles.
Yeah.
You know, I still go back to that. And I mean, I know now as an adult that the whole purpose was like, we've got to introduce characters so we can sell more toys. And like, we had some different Ninja Turtle toys. We never had like the vehicles. We never had the pizza van.
Yeah.
Right. The van that shot the pizzas. But I had a friend who had the van that shot the pizzas.
And that kid was cool.
Yeah. Anyways, I would say that was my other like one that I remember watching a ton.
Yeah.
And then we would go out and there was these like ferns that would grow outside the house that would be like long and tall, and they'd come out and they'd be like juvenile and you could pull them up. Yeah. And then you could use those as a sword. And then if you smacked another one, they'd break. And then they're kind of like a nunchuck.
Oh, okay.
And you could sit there and like swing them around. And so like we were always messing around outside with it. Because our parents would be like, we'd watch cartoons and they'd kick us outside when it got warm, but like come back when it gets dark. Yeah. You know, so we were always out there like just throwing sticks at trees and stuff because that's what we did back in the day.
Yeah.
That's what made us the great men we are today.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
But
Nova's all get out.
Dude, yeah, I mean one of my football players, we had a 4th of July parade this year. And he legit had a set of sunglasses that looked like the sunglasses from Krang's giant body.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, dude, those are like Ninja Turtle glasses. He had no frame of reference. And I was like,
no,
let me Google on my phone just a minute. And I showed him a picture. He's like, yeah, they do look like that. And I'm like, yeah, those are really cool.
Yeah, you don't realize how cool that actually is.
Yeah.
I have to tell you my Ninja Turtle story. So this is a family joke. We all have things that are slightly embarrassing for us that we brought up when significant others were first introduced to the family. And now that I'm getting married, I'm sure India's heard this one. If she hasn't, she's going to hear it now because she's in the other room. So, but we have my parents filmed me one time when I was a little kid. I had to have been like 5, 6, maybe even 7. And I had Ninja Turtles VHSs that I would watch. And my parents actually had to hide them from me because they had pictures of me beating up the furniture. And I'm not like, I'm uncoordinated. I have been in maybe a couple fights in my life and they were in sports. They weren't in like anything else. And like I beat up the couch, right? Like I would jump off the couch yelling, hi-ya, right? Hi-ya. And my mom and dad thought it was the funniest freaking thing. But my mom was just like, he's going to hurt himself or he's going to hurt the furniture, and we can't have that. So my Ninja Turtle movies got hidden from me. So
not hurt other people, but the furniture.
No, it was the furniture. I was in no danger. I was in more danger to myself than anybody. So, which happened more than once when I jumped off the couch and landed on my tailbone, which did not.
I feel like it's the same argument that happened when Power Rangers came out and parents were all freaking out because they're like, oh no, kids are going to go punch each other.
Yeah.
Because kids in America hadn't been hitting each other prior to that.
Yeah.
Ever.
So that's my good Ninja Turtle story. All right. My last one is my shirt. A great Target find. It's a great show for those of you who have not seen it. Frost, this is a shout out to you. You never finished the series. You have a good reason for not finishing the series due to a friend not actually watching. They agreed to watch a show each and they wouldn't do it, and the other friend didn't. So, but Avatar: The Last Airbender, Nickelodeon original show, had no idea. Nickelodeon had no clue how big their show was about to be. Still big to this day, especially when they brought it back to Netflix. Currently a 9.3 on International Movie Database and a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. 96% of Google users like the show. So I just have to lead in with that. 3 seasons. They did make more. They made another Avatar, Korra. but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see. It won 9 Emmys for TV, and it was, let's see, how many episodes total? I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm not seeing it here. So anyway, but a fantastic show. And again, it's one of those, this is a shout out. I know my history advisor from college has no idea, probably doesn't remember because he talks to so many kids. He was super helpful, but his name was, apparently I don't remember him either. Brain fart. Wow. That's terrible. Nope. Not going to remember. Oh, that's a bummer. But my history advisor, taught a class called History 421. And it was history in secondary schools. Oh, Dr. Moore, Dr. Stephen Moore. Shout out to Dr. Stephen Moore. He told me he was going to ruin any movie, any piece of music, anything I ever listened to again, because I would always try and figure out how to use it in my classroom. And when you actually sit down and you watch Avatar: Last Airbender, so like when I watched it as a kid, because I watched it, I was probably like 13, 14, I believe, when it came out. But I will double check that right now. Let's see. It's not going to give me any information. It's just going to give me all their wins. Let's see. Top cast, top creators. I know the storyline. All the parents' complaints. Oh, release date was 2005. So I was 15. Yep, 15 years old, about to drive a car. I definitely was watching this show. And I'm okay with it. But it was one of those shows that I followed all the way through. I love the idea. So for those of you who don't know, the premise of the show is that the world is divided into 4 nations, not our world. It's a different map and everything like that. And I have it in the back of my classroom. So if you ever want to visit my classroom, I have a 8 by 6 foot or 5 by 6 foot tapestry of the Avatar world. Not anime, by the way, not anime, because it's Chinese based, not Japanese based. And for it to be anime, it has to be in Japan. But the idea is that the world's split into 4 nations, and then people of those nations, there's 2 separate ones. There's benders and non-benders. And so the people of that nation can bend elements, meaning that they can control them, harness them, and everything like that. And as the intro goes, right, the 4 nations lived in harmony until the Fire Nation attacked. The Fire Nation is trying to conquer the world. And one of the things they did was they destroyed the air benders, the air nomads, as they were called. And the last one, Aang, who was the Avatar. And the Avatar is a spirit, or is a human who is bonded with the spirit Rava, who is the light spirit. And so when the Avatar dies, it's reincarnated to a next nation in the cycle. And so Aang was an airbender who escaped, and that's another story. I don't want to ruin the whole series. You need to go watch it on Netflix. But he can control the elements. He's frozen in a block of ice. He's uncovered by 2 of the main characters, Sokka and Katara of the Southern Water Tribe that lived in the South Pole. Katara is a waterbender. Sokka is not. And they meet Aang, who's an airbender. And they travel the world. The Avatar's job is to be able to bend all 4 elements and master something called the Avatar state, where they can use all 4 elements at once. And they use all their knowledge and power from previous avatars to help bring balance to the world. And they hit so many major themes in this show. And my fiance has watched it with me probably about 1,000 times, because it's like my go-to. I can just throw it on and not worry about it, because it's just, there's so many good ones. They talk about things like refugees. They talk about masculinity. They talk about what's the other thing I'm thinking of? They talk about sexism. They talk about hierarchies. They talk about older traditions. And what's cool is, like, it's set in not quite an ancient time, but like we're pushing, like the technological developments are like coal powered ships. There's balloons, right? There's some flying machines, like what would be the equivalent of like a Zeppelin and stuff like that. What? Steampunk. Thank you.
Kind of like steampunk, but there's not a whole lot of, it doesn't go overly techno. I've watched a handful of it with Emma.
Yeah. So, and then what's interesting is that they took that show, and it's so masterfully done. And the way they handle each situation that appears, is very unique. And the character development, there's 3 seasons that are combined for Aang learning a certain element and mastering it, and then moving on to the next one until the final showdown. And oh man, it's just so good. And I love this show so much that I read fan theory on it, and it fascinates me. Like, I just love the idea of it, and it's actually really cool because our students are getting into it now again. And so, like, when they walk into my room, they're like, "Is that an Avatar: The Last Airbender map?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you want to talk about it?" Like, we can talk about it. I'm super excited. But it's cool because, like, again, one of the fan theories that I love is how every avatar has to solve the problem that the other avatars before them neglected. And so it's just really interesting. And oh my God, just go watch it. Just please watch what, and you gotta, it's like The Office, right? The Office, you have to watch the first season and you're gonna cringe through it, right? We can agree on that. You gotta let the characters develop and let it build, because that, oh, it's so good in the sense that, like, the journey that they have, the character development they have, the power that they possess. And it's even one of those things where, like, we as teachers, we always ask classic questions to get kids talking and debating. And one of the ones we always ask is, what's your favorite superpower, right? Or if you could have any superpower, what would you have? And mine every single time was, I want the power of the Avatar. Like, I want to be able to bend all 4 elements at the same time. So cool. Go look it up, watch a couple episodes, tell me about it, drop a comment at the bottom of this if I'm right or if I'm wrong. I don't care. I want to talk about Avatar with somebody else. So feel free to talk to me about Avatar. Drop it on my Instagram. Drop it on Turnbark Time Instagram. I will respond. All right, Bark. I have to pause. Otherwise, I'm going to get too excited.
Do you think is it Buddhism or is it Taoism? Is it?
Oh, Barker. Let me just open up that can of worms you just opened up. Okay, so Barker, let me tell you. First off, every bending style, this is another thing that I think is so cool. Again, this is more of that fan theory, is where did they come up with? Because when they bend, they're doing martial arts, and everyone is based off a martial artist or a type of martial arts. So, like, water bending is Tai Chi, right? And if you don't know what Tai Chi is, you can Google it. We're on YouTube right now, so go ahead and just pause this video, open a new tab, and type in Tai Chi. It's basically it's actually a workout for some people, but it's a lot of there's flowing. It's like getting energy to flow through your body. And then I want to say air bending is Shaolin Kung Fu. I cannot honestly remember what firebending or earthbending is. But yeah, it has elements of Buddhism, especially with the airbenders. Just their style of very much like releasing everything from the world, right? They're very free and everything like that. One of the things in Legend of Korra, which is following, it's the Avatar after Aang, who will pass away when he's 61 years old, but technically he's 161 years old. So, but Korra there's a guy who masters airbending to the point where he can fly. Like, he's let go of all of his earthly attachments to the point where he can release his spirit and he can actually fly without he's not flapping or anything. He literally just can bend the air around him to fly. So Buddhism is one of them. There are other elements though that are really interesting. So, like, when it comes to like religious aspects, there aren't many ties to any other religion, right? Like I say, the airbenders have religion as a whole, but in the show, there aren't any elements of other religions. So they do go through the origins, which the origins are all animal based things. Like, so, well, I guess I take it back. The animal based on 3 of them, and then the moon is the waterbender. So, like, people learn to waterbend from the moon. Badger moles. Every animal, by the way, is a combination of 2 animals, which is pretty funny in that show. So badger moles are the ones who taught earthbending, right? Because they have to use they're blind, so they have to use their earthbending to move around and build tunnels. Dragons were the original firebenders, and so they learned to firebend from the dragons. And then that was earth, fire. Airbenders, the original, were sky bison. And so they're basically bison that have 6 legs and can fly through the air. And so they bend the air. So people learn to bend from the sky bison. And there's more origin stories that I'm not going to get into because it's technically Legend of Korra. So I'm not going to worry about that. All I will tell you is the first avatar, his name is Juan. It's not Juan like Quincy Juan, like J-U-A-N. It's Juan as in W-A-N. And he is a very interesting character in and of himself. So, again, watch it, please. Someone talk to me about it. I love it. So, but yeah, this is a fun one. Bark, I think we'll drop some. This is dropping. This is Turkey Day, right? Okay, so this drops on Turkey Day. Again, hopefully you're safe and everything like that. But one of the things we wanted to leave off with is we wanted to add on what we're thankful for, and kind of discuss Thanksgiving and have that little moment for the end. So, Mark, do you want me to start or you want to start?
I can start.
Okay.
Shoot. I'm thankful for my family. It's been about a year since my dad passed, and so we're still kind of, things are different, and it's just kind of that point in my life where people in my dad's generation are getting older and passing away, and so it's changing dynamics, and so I'm thankful to be closer to home and to be around family more. I'm thankful for my social studies department at Long. They're my people. They understand me. They put up with me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think the rest of the building understands quite how I operate, but they get
ever?
me. Shoot. I'm thankful for Skype so that we can do this. It's good to keep the back channels open.
Yep, the Trans-Cascadian communication lines.
That was a little Some of All Fears quote for you.
Yeah.
Shoot, and I mean, just everything that we have. It's been a rough couple of years, and to realize that we're still really blessed to have what we have. Just take a minute and then realize hopefully everything's okay, and kind of think about what you have, focus on what you have instead of what you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
I think in our society, way too much, we get pushed to, especially with like Black Friday. This is coming out. Like, yeah. We get pushed into this idea of like, you always need more, you always want more, rather than stopping and taking a breath and realizing what we have, and maybe, change your mindset. Instead of looking for deficits, look for benefits.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I'd say I'm extremely thankful for my family, for my fiance India, who puts up with me. Still don't know why, still don't know how, but she said yes. Thankful for the life that we kind of built here and everything like that. Thankful for Skype. Thankful for you. Right? Don't know if I'd still be teaching or if I'd have a job. Hadn't been for my fearless leader. I'm thankful for like just I look at like the life my parents had, but wasn't bad, but like everything they gave me to push me to go forward, and everything I have here. I'm thankful for my boss, Scott Ramsey, who hired me, but also is a really close friend, a really good confidant. My whole Quincy middle school staff, I'm super thankful for. We might not always agree on everything, but I know that everyone's heart's in the right place, and we're headed for what we are. And I'm thankful for our students, like I love going in every day, and yeah, you might have a rough one, but it's something new. It's something exciting, and everything like that. And then, as cornball it is, I'm thankful for the people who listen to this. I think we're entertaining enough to listen to us. We're on 40 minutes right now, so hopefully they still find us entertaining. But yeah, there's a lot. And I thought back at Thanksgiving night last year, I got to spend with India at her house or her apartment in Yakima, and we had Dirk over and everything like that. And then he's asleep on the couch, or he's asleep on the chair right now, just hanging out. And yeah, and I don't think I had Thanksgiving with my family. I think I headed home, and that was it, because she had to work and and everything like that. So it wasn't the year. I'm excited. Wednesday. So again, we're recording this Monday night. So Wednesday, we're hitting the road right after school and going over and spending time with my parents and my sister and my brother-in-law, my niece, and I'm really thankful. I'm really excited. Everyone's doing well. Everyone's in good health, and yeah, it's just we're slowly getting back to normal, and I'm excited for it, and I'm thankful for that. So, yeah, it's a good time to be alive. It's a good time to we'll be okay. That's what I keep telling myself is we'll be okay. So, but
one step at a time.
yep. So not to get into Christmas music, but put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking across the floor. No, all right, I'm a fan of
I
it.
just think of como tu comes un elefante, un bocado a la vez.
For those of you who don't speak Spanish, is how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
One of my secret favorite things about my new school is I walk around speaking Spanish all the time to kids in the hallway. And one of my favorite things to have happen is kids go, "Are you the Spanish teacher?" And I look at them and go, "No."
No, no
And then they're really, really, really confused.
I love it.
Vive la resistance.
Amen to that, man. The vanguard leading from the middle. So, well, now you're leading from the front, but that's okay. Some of us are still back in the middle to help out. We're in the reserves. So, doing the Mongol army thing, you can go out in front and bring them to us. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight. Again, if you want to like and subscribe down below, follow us on Spotify or anything like that. We know we talk a lot. If you want to hear us talk about something, let us know. If you have suggestions for maybe some guests you want to see on the show, I don't know if we can do a 3-way Skype call, but if we can make that work, we can bring in a guest too. But yeah, so Bark, anything else?
No. Sorry, you mentioned like 3 people on Skype, and I was just my brain already started like the pistons are firing. Like, what will I do to the visual layout?
I have no idea what you'll do to the visual layout.
Yeah, we probably have like a blank, probably like a Brady Bunch minus like one of the Marshas.
Well, what we can do, we can talk about it later, so we can make it work.
Or one of us is really big and 2 of us are really small. I don't know. Maybe the guest gets to be big and we're small. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
anyways,
it happens. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful evening. Be safe. Sorry, I jumped out ahead of you.
Oh no!
Sorry, I was thinking of deep frying turkeys videos that always pop up around Thanksgiving time. So let me go back and say, have a good night, everybody.
Be safe
and be well.